Welcome to episode 2 of Port to Port Connections. Thanks for joining us. Today's episode is the tale of a Clementine. You'll see its journey from Morocco to New Bedford to Canada. Stay tuned.
Have you ever wondered how these tiny citrus fruits, clementines, the cousin of tangerines, oranges, and the cara, make it into your grocery stores and are eventually enjoyed as a delicious snack? Well, what if I told you this tiny fruit journeyed thousands of miles just for you? This is the story of one tiny little clementine. To begin, we journey to the beautiful and sunny groves of a farm in Morocco in North Africa. Here, our little citrus fruit awaits to be handpicked alongside all of its other clementine friends. And yes, our little clementine gets picked and is on its way to embark on its long journey. However, before it truly begins, it must go with the other clementines to auction where their destiny will be decided. It sits and waits while people bid for all of the different harvests from all over Morocco, and after what feels like forever, our clementine is finally chosen. And, drumroll, its final destination will be the province of Quebec in Canada. Our little clementine is then loaded on to a huge cargo ship, 400 feet long. That's the size of just about 1.5 football fields. As it boards the ship, the clementine learns that the ship is bound for the port of New Bedford, Massachusetts, before it continues on to Canada. You may have heard of New Bedford before. Think whaling and Moby Dick. Yes, you've got that right. And so the clementine begins its journey across the Atlantic Ocean. The journey will take about 7 days depending on the weather. If weather conditions are good and there is smooth sailing, then it will be able to arrive quickly with little to no damage. If the fruit is damaged, then it won't be able to continue its journey to Canada. However, this is not always the case, and the clementines suffer a bit of a bumpy ride. As the days go on, the clementines are able to finally see the port of New Bedford in the distance. The ship's captain and crew see the birds of land flying overhead. This signals that they'll be in port in no time at all. Waiting for them is a flock of people responsible for the inspection of the ship, its crew, and cargo, the very important clementine. This will ready the clementine for the next leg of its journey to Canada via truck to Montreal in Quebec. And just like that, the journey ends when it lands in your hand ready to eat, that sweet and tangy morsel of deliciousness. From the sunny citrus groves of Morocco to the rock-laden shores of New England to the northern city of Montreal on the St. Lawrence Seaway. And what a delight it is!
Welcome back to Port Connections. I hope you enjoy this episode. So today's story is about the clementine, as you know. This delicious small fruit, beautiful color, and it's part of the citrus family. Port Connections program is a study, as we've discussed, of people and things and ideas which flow into and out of a place, and the implications of that movement. So it's, so we really look at place-based learning and what is happening at this place. So today I'm going to ask a couple of big questions. So how does the story of clementines coming to New Bedford from Morocco, destined to Canada, how does this impact our community? How does it impact our students? How does it impact the state of Massachusetts? So they come in to the state pier, and we're lucky here in New Bedford to have 2 international berths for massive cargo ships. And for the past 6 years, we've had, it started out with one a month, then one every couple of weeks, and then once a week. And last year we actually saw as many as 2 ships a day come in, to New Bedford. That was pretty exciting. That was a days where we had the shipment from Morocco of clementines come in, destined for Canada. We also had a shipment of scrap metal, which was destined for Turkey. So pretty interesting story. All while we have many of our fishing boats heading out to sea. So most people, when they hear New Bedford, they think fish, scallops. We are the #1 port in the United States in dollars, and that is a pretty exciting thing. But we also have this niche economy of the Clementines. So you saw their journey from Morocco to New Bedford. Sometimes it can be a bit tumultuous depending on the weather, but they arrive here, and that's what I want to talk about, that impact. So we have a company, and it is called Maritime Terminal, and it's a local company, and they employ stevedores, and they employ warehouse workers who are here to take the cargo off the ships and bring it into the warehouse for inspection. We also have a whole team of people greeting these Clementines. Pretty exciting. We have FDA, Food and Drug Administration. We have Coast Guard. We have Homeland Security. We have insurance people. A whole litany of individuals that fly into or drive into New Bedford, and they do their job. They do their inspection. They check things out. It all happens very, very quickly. But for the city of New Bedford, that means people dining in our restaurants, staying in our hotels, buying gas, buying food, buying groceries, sundries, gifts, etc. And so it is a boon. And so this started out, once a month, and then it was once a week, and now, as I recently said, it was twice a day. So pretty big deal for a city this size. There are plans in the work for a huge new refrigeration plant where we can, refrigerate goods that come in, which, can only add to the activity of this port. So what does it mean for our students? So for me, it was especially interesting to, to walk down to the pier, which we do on a regular basis, so we're quite familiar with it. But when we greeted the Clementines, it was quite different. Reason being is that we saw a tremendous amount of people in the community working at the pier that day. And for our students, they were able to see people who worked per diem jobs as stevedores and warehouse workers coming in, union workers who sometimes were their, family members or neighbors or, relatives, etc. And see what kind of work is here and viable and it's quite vibrant here in the community. And they're also really understanding this story of globalization, of using and buying and eating some delicious piece of fruit that comes from very, very far away, that is grown in a very distant land, that has gone through many, many steps to reach our doorstep, to end up in our supermarket or in a supermarket in Canada. It's where so we buy it, so we pop it in our mouth and think, oh wow, isn't this delicious? But it's a tremendously impactful experience to see the students watch and observe and follow basically this journey. So this is what we do in Port to Ports. We look at things and people and ideas and that have come into New Bedford or other places that we visit, and the imprint that it leaves, and then where's it going and what kind of impact has it left. So the next time you pop a delicious Clementine into your mouth, think of us, think of New Bedford, think of its journey. Until next time, Port to Port Connections. See you again. Thank you.